Hey, good evening, guys. I would have been out here a little bit sooner, but I was on the phone trying to get some parts pulled for another guy. So, yeah, I'm just running behind. Seems like it doesn't matter how early I get woke up. Sometimes you just can't get anything done. Can't get anything done for working. Hey, good evening, 3. Hello, Bruce. See you guys popped in there. All right, so I'm out of the, unless I want to use a little 100 amp, because I've got those actually for other small devices. I don't have the amp meter and shunt that I had intended on using, so I'm really partial to these. However, they are like 3 times as expensive, so this guy's going to get a kind of a free upgrade on this one, because usually I charge extra for these just because of the accuracy and well, there's multiple different reasons. So anyhow, he's going to get a free upgrade because it's going to take a few weeks before I can get those actually in as far as any more replacements, and I'd like to get as much done as I can on this. Hello, Popcorn. Hello, Chad. I see you popped in there too. Of course, I know he's over there sitting in the shop and he's got his YouTube on and watching while he works too. So it's crazy how we're all busy and yet watching each other at the same time. Good evening, Gene. So anyhow, I've got my center line marked. As many times as I've used these, you would think by now I would actually have this figured out in my head as far as on the measurements, but man, there is so much to remember as far as measurements and stuff like that. So I don't even try. All right, so 1.48 inches. If I take that out to 1.5 inches. Yep, so mark for 1.5 inches and leave the line. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to get done before I actually leave for work, but we're going to give it a college try anyways. I guess that's what everybody says. But I've got my top line already marked, so it's just a matter of marking how far down we're going to go, and then obviously center to center. Yeah, not fully dark yet. Go figure. It's all right. You won't be saying that here in about 4 or 5 more months. You'll be saying, "What the hell happened to the damn daylight?" Everybody else. But yeah, I wanted to get the layout for this done. There's a few little odds and ends yet that have to be drilled, which is not anything major, but I just wanted to kind of get out here and, like I said, spend some time with you guys before I go in. Okay, so let's get us a measurement here. So 2 5/8. 2 5/8, which should be 2.625. Divide that by 2. Yeah, that's what I thought, 1 5/16. You're still vampire at heart. Well, don't feel bad on that, Gary, because I am too. First to work during the day now. Marion, Texas. Yeah, well, it's still cold up here, and it's saying that we're going to get more rain. But in case you guys are wondering, as far as on the little scale that I'm using, I actually use, this one needs to be replaced. I mean, I've had this one for like 20 some years, but this is a machinist scale. So I've had this one every bit of 20 years, and it's pretty warm, pretty beaten and battered, from all the years of service whenever I worked in tool and die. Um, I used to go through a couple of these, couple of these every year. Um, somewhere I've even still got my 12-inch version of this as well. But these are very, very handy, especially whenever it gives you things in decimal points versus fractions. Um, Honestly, I do better with decimals than I do fractions, but most of that has to do with the years of time that I did tool and die. So I did that for many, many years and done, fabrication work, and just about anything to do with the industry. I've done at some point in my life. So okay, got that. All right, so let's set this off to the side, and we're going to take the back. Like I said, I want to try to get the layout, and this way I can kind of chat with you guys while we're in here too. So, all right. The drill gun. Yeah, because I usually go ahead and pre-assemble these cabinets first, and then I'll take them all back apart. Mainly because of the fact that I want to make sure that the cabinet is always going to fit. And the reason why I say that, granted, I haven't had that issue in about 10 years, but I actually had a cabinet that got sent with most of the right, but not all of the right parts. And that's been a good 10 plus years ago. So I just try to make it good practice to go through and pre-assemble things. Plus, it gives you more of an idea as far as on your layout, what what to expect. And also because of where some of these panels, such as these, are universal, they can be flipped upside down or what have you. Um, you can go back and you can put reference marks as to what goes in what direction so that you can go, oh, no, I need to turn that around. Let's see. So that's what that is. That's just my note to self that, hey, this is what we're going to do. All right. And this is also going to be the corner that we're going to put our power in. I think that's the one I need. Just double check this power cord here real quick. Yeah. And good enough for that. Alrighty, so it pretended to rain. Well, yeah, I don't know. So far at least, it seems as though my microphone's been working properly, for whatever that's worth. Yep, and that's the end of that battery. I knew it was getting close. Speaking of which, it reminds me I need to charge my 12 volt at work when I get in tonight too. Well, come on, you silly thing, get in the charger. There we go. I think that's supposed to be 7/8, but I can't remember. Yeah, 875. All right, so once I got this hole here, then I'm going to come back and we'll make some markings there for the exhaust ports. Come on. Knocked over my little air cord. Yeah, we'll do this one the hard way instead of with a ratchet. Tell you what, guys, these have been a lifesaver in themselves. A couple of them were dull whenever I bought that set because I bought them used on eBay. But at the price that I bought them at on eBay, it's like, man, I can deal with that because I'm just going to use these for aluminum anyways. All right, let's get some layout tape. Let's see. Good evening, Russ. Twelve by 6. Oh, okay. Well, that's definitely heavy enough. That's for sure. It'll also make for heat sink too. Not that you're really going to have. I don't think you'll ever really have that much heat generated, anyways. But since this is the cabinet that my customer actually picked out, there's still going to be plenty of room for, if he ever decides to grow this power supply. So that's one of the other nice things too, is he's got options to grow it. Let's see. I think I'm going to go 1.25 inches. Well, let's go 1 inch. That's the one I was looking for. Okay. Now I could go ahead, and I know that that's going to be a very small, that's actually a 1/2 inch there, but I'm actually going to use that just because of the fact that it'll actually give me a really clean, really clean circle. So all I'm going to do is just drill it out enough to basically utilize this to cut through there. So, and these are just going to be our exhaust port here. That's just going to be our exhaust port here. One of the holes small enough, especially since we're dealing with such a small power. Some of these, what I'll do is I'll actually cut out and I'll put a screen mesh on the back, and that is to keep rodents out. So, you guys have ever had electronics or anything like that, bass speakers in the house or what have you, and you get to smelling something strange, find out you got a dead mouse in there, because they love anything that has wires. So I usually try to make the holes really, really small, or I'll put like I said, some kind of a screen guard on the inside. Just keep critters like that out. So have you guys had a pretty good day so far? Or for those of you that are closing down the evening? On a 200 amp service, well, you do have to remember you have to run your entire house off of that. However, when you are hooking up as far as into a 200 amp service, you're not running an entire house, because when it gets down to it, for example, your dryer is going to draw 20 to 30 amps. Your stove is going to draw anywhere from 30 to 60 amps. Heating, what have you. So, you kind of halfway bear that in mind too. But, you can run 50 or 100 amps, because you're only looking at, it's going to be in small durations. But, you can run, you can easily run up to 100 amps of AC current off of your box in the house if needed be. Because as far as with what we're doing, like I said, it's only going to be in, very short durations that we're actually drawing that kind of current. But not needed. One before base. Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. Some big cables. Working the internet. There you go. CC filter 100, 200, 300. You have 8-gauge wires. Well, that definitely would do you. Yeah, sadly, I could actually do that here. I could easily go back and have another service added for here. I'm just run off of a main line, from the house over here. So Gary, besides trying to pop in here and watch me, what else are you doing over there, big guy? I know you said you're watching two feeds at one time, going back and forth. Serious, what you call serious multitasking. Oh, what's car audio? Yeah, well, that kind of works. I mean, it does give you more positive connection, but I don't know if that's really going to help a whole lot. I mean, one of the things, if you're insisting on staying on 110, one of the things that I have recommended to people is to, instead of going with your standard 12.3, 12.3, is just go back and, have a, because you can buy 10.2, but just go up to the 10-gauge wire and just have a 10-gauge wire ran directly to your outlet. I mean, that would, to me, I think that would make the most sense, if you're dedicated to running 110. Yeah, like I said, I know this is kind of redundant because, like I said, I could do the same action, with the Linux bit, but you don't get that nice, perfectly clean circle. That's That's the reason why I do this. I mean, it's not as time effective. But it sure does make a nicer hole. And you don't have to reload this near as much either. Did I win the prize? Sometimes I get lucky and that tape will just peel all off in one shot like that, but not today. Yeah, I had a customer actually call me earlier just before I started doing this live feed, and he asked for a specific part that, I haven't seen in a while, and I didn't even think anything about it. Well, he asked for a specific fan, and it's like, okay. So I looked, because he had about $5-10 worth of stuff that he wanted to get from me, and it's like, well, you got $10 worth of shipping. I hate to sit there and sell $5-10 worth of stuff and then charge just as much for the shipping. But it has to do with what USPS now charges. So he gave me a number oddly specific to a particular fan, and it just so happened I had 2 of them on hand. Well, I looked up the cost of those fans, and I can remember, and it's the really good Sunnen fans. I can remember when I used to get those $5-6 a piece, and now they're $16 a piece. And he asked me, he said they're a little steep. So I showed him. I said, well, I pulled it up on the screen. I said, well, this is my cost on them now to replace them. So, Chad, it's a clear on Facebook. Market for 300. Yeah, exactly, Chad. If you're going through the trouble to run a 110 circuit, it's just as easy to run 220. A lot of people are deathly afraid of it, but you can get the 20 amp. You can get a 20 amp plug. Matter of fact, that's what this one's going to get, is a 20 amp, and it looks like a regular outlet that plugs on the wall. This is the cord for it. So I mean, it's not, believe it or not, guys, 220 is not as scary as it might sound. For you, for those of you that are going to have that ran. Oh, you do the same now on knocking out holes like that, Chad? Sorry, I'm kind of reading backwards here. Yeah, now in the industrial world, but yeah, and so it makes nice clean holes. You don't have to chamfer or nothing like that. So like I said, that's part of the reason why I use those. Like I said, it makes all the world of difference. Well, there's our back. Now the real fun. We got to cut the hole for the top of this crazy thing too. Yep. Got just enough time left here before I leave. Set that off there. If I can get in there. But yeah, I'll get this actually marked before we leave. Let's see. Where is the tape measure? There it is. And then when we come back, I'll actually go ahead and get the hydraulic press out for this one. So 7.5. Next one down. So don't need a whole lot of air movement. You know, the guy was afraid that, you know, it was going to make any kind of noise whatsoever. And it's like, well, yeah, but, you know, you want some cooling in there. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, well, we got our center mark anyways. I can come off of this each way and put our 4 little holes. I'll actually get those drilled, and since we've already got our center, and then that way I can swing out and make sure everything's going to line up center, and then we can drill and use the hydraulic press and cut this one out. But now tomorrow, I may or may not work on this because tomorrow it should already arrive by then. At least that's what my UPS is stating. So I'm going to run some quick tests on this new Teflon that I ordered. Let's see here. Let's get caught up. I didn't even shave today, guys. I haven't shaved for a couple of days. Let's see. Yeah, three-phase is a whole different breed of animal. It really is. Plus, you almost have to be in an industrial park or setting in order for them to even want to set it. Yeah, I remember those days, Chad. Good evening, Dallas. Now, three phase is unusual because on three-phase, depending on how the circuit is set up, um, probably not today. I am going to make a quick stop someplace because I didn't fix myself a lunch tonight. But no, three-phase is kind of unusual because you've got, for example, on the low voltage, or what they classify kind of as a low voltage, you've typically got 200 volts. You have 200, 208, 240, and then you've got what is it, I think 460 and 480. Those are your most common. Of course, you also have 277. That's also thrown into that whole mix of different voltages. When you get into the industrial portion of it, it is maddening because you're chasing down circuits, and it's like, okay, there is no set standard. You've got 110, 220, and 480. There is none of that. You've got all these different variations of voltages, um, and it is absolutely insane because you got to really pay attention to your to your windings and what the motors are and to where it's going at as to what you're going to wind up with. So I've seen some pretty good Arky and Sparkies, but thank God I've never had to see anything or witness anything like that. Um, oof. But anyways, guys, I hate to get out of here as much as I'd love to stay in here in the shop and enjoy myself. Work calls, so I'm going to go ahead and say good evening to you guys, and I appreciate you popping in for the short time. Like I said, I'm going to try to get out here. I'm not going to say every evening, but I'm going to try to get out here a lot more, especially since I've got a lot of videos to make up for last year where I was just so sick. But, all right, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and tune in later this week. Take care and good night.